Well, it's reflection time. So, I thought it'd be fun to go over Meta again and talk about kind of how I established a position in Meta, how I went about that, and also how I kind of trimmed out of some Meta on this run up. So, I thought it'd be fun to just kind of share my experience with it. And so if we go over the valuation template here, I looked up previously, and I have a other video on Meta. I didn't have the valuation template built out like this specifically, but this was actually what I had been throwing around for evaluation kind of back in, I think it was in the 200s, like about March 2022 after this big decline. I started looking into it and kind of trying to figure out where I would want to establish a position with a pretty high target KGAR of 20%. So if we looked at the evaluation template that I had, these were all the same assumptions and the same basically growth rates, bottom line income at the end of 5 years. So this is basically what I had. Very bearish buy price of 120, a bearish buy price of 152, base case of 194, a bullish case of 255, and very bullish of 342. This was kind of around the time that Meta got a lot of bad press. There was the whole regulatory thing going on, and then I don't know, it just seemed like Meta got trashed for the longest time. So I started accumulating, I think in the low 200s, just slight nibbles, and then I built it up a little bit more in the 170 area, and then I kind of got it built up a lot more in the 140 to 120 area, and I was really happy with the position. I got built up to a decent allocation size that I wanted to. I think the allocation at that point was about, maybe 3% or so, and I was pretty happy with it. So I wasn't really planning on adding any more to my position. I thought, the cost base that I had, about 160, was pretty good, and the thesis was kind of intact. There was a lot of fear around Meta, and then we flushed down after earnings to $100, and then it went to 90, and then I think it bottomed at like 88, and that was crazy. During that time, because I was still confident in the thesis, I actually doubled my position and I took it from a 3% allocation total portfolio up to a 5% allocation. So my cost basis, when all was said and done across all the shares, was about 125, with a decent chunk of those shares being in the $100 to $88 range. And then Jim Cramer cried, and that was the bottom. So it went off to the races. Year to date, we're up 112% on Meta. The 1 year, about 50%, but from the lows, this is absolutely insane. We're up, oh my gosh, trough to peak over 200% from November to June. So like 7 months, 8 months. It's absolutely insane. When we started bouncing back, I did end up actually taking a little bit off at around, I think it was like in the 190 to 180 area. And then I did take some off at 233. And now I'm back to an allocation of about 5% on it. If we go over to my portfolio, you can see Meta is currently sitting at a 5.4% allocation of the total portfolio. Individual stocks wise, it's about 21%. When I first built out the position, it was like 30 some percent, I think, just of my individual stocks and about 5% of my overall portfolio. Before I trimmed this back, I think it got up to 10 or 11% of my portfolio. So it was, I don't know, it was a hard decision to, do you let your winners run? Or, since you maybe went heavier than you thought you were going to, do you take some off? So I'm kind of all right with how I managed it. I don't know, since it was such a good stock and I really wanted to have a long-term core holding in it, I think I could have justified leaving it alone at my full allocation that I eventually built out. But it's one of those things where position management is tricky. It really is tricky, letting your winners run And then cutting your losers quickly. That's something that I'm trying to learn and improve on. And for now, Meta is a 5.41% allocation in my overall portfolio. It's still the biggest stock in my individual portfolio at 21.6%. I think when all was said and done, I took about half of the position off. And usually what I was doing was, as it was going up, I was selling higher cost basis shares to limit tax liability on any gains that were taken. So yeah, I don't know. When I look at how I could manage this differently in the future, and this is obviously, none of this is financial advice. I am just some random guy on YouTube talking about position management in stocks. This is just for me. This is for nobody else. But I kind of had the fair value in the, I don't know, 183 to 240 area. And we're not too far above that right now. We're at about, 260. It's nothing crazy. And if the thesis continues to play out, the 5-year targets are from 315 to 894. So yeah, I think it's one that I could have easily held on to and just said, you know what, I'm going to let this play out, see if the thesis works out. I am happy that I trimmed it though. Maybe next time I wouldn't trim it as much, but I really want to start working on, kind of waiting to realize the full potential of stock returns when I'm right, because I don't want to get in a position where I keep on cutting my winners too early and then my losers continue running and I let my losers run. I want to cut my losers somewhat quickly, and when I am right, I want to be able to watch that thesis play out over that 5-year period and be able to take full advantage of the run up. With Meta right now, nothing has changed regarding my valuation. If I was looking to build out a position in this right now, I would still be wanting to, get in that 194 area for the base case, 152 for the bearish, and 120 for the very bearish. I still think the thesis holds. I think sentiment has changed drastically, and the negative sentiment is really what led us to the amazing opportunity to accumulate this at 5-year lows. Like it was insane. I mean, you look at, it was $88 at one point, right? I'm not going to really see that on Google Finance, but it was $88 at one point, and that is essentially going back to 2015, 2016 prices. I think this could have been probably the accumulation opportunity of a lifetime. It's pretty crazy that we got this low on such a solid large cap company. I think it was trading in the 250 billion market cap area, which is just insane for the platforms, the moat, the users that Meta has, and their ability to monetize those in the future. That just seems like a crazy good deal. So yeah, well, reflection Thursday for me. I think I definitely should have, probably held off a little bit on those trims. But you know what? Hindsight is 2020. You're never ever gonna get everything perfect. I just want to make sure from now on I am getting the meat of the moves, and I can guarantee you that 5% allocation that I currently have in Meta is never going to be touched unless something radically crazy happens and the thesis changes drastically. But so yeah, current cost basis on those shares is about 100 to 101. So might end up being my best individual stock accumulation for a long time. But I hope you guys are having a great day. Thanks for hearing me ramble on, and yeah, have a good one.